with a debate, further stating our position and take a vote against the nominee as required by the rules of the plenary. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minority Leader. But how do you reject a nominee who is yet to be vetted?
Yes. No, she believes in us.
The report is not ready to be voted for. We are not at the stage of approval. So your conclusion is very preemptive.
Yes, Chairman, with respect.
Respond.
No, Chairman, but
I don't want your
Chairman,
response
to the extent that you've raised it, I just need to.
Honorable Minority Leader,
Chairman,
you have your day.
Chairman,
you have your day. The two microphones should be off.
Chairman,
the two microphones should be off. With all due respect,
we have registered our position.
Honorable Minority Leader,
that we have rejected. We don't need to
agreed on your position.
We rejected, and we
agreed on your position.
Yes.
When it is time for voting, then you can vote again. Yes. So we thank you very much, and we wish you a very good luck. Honorable members. Yes. Honorable members, those present here, we have the constitutional quorum to proceed to vet the Chief Justice nominee and present our report accordingly to Parliament.
Of the caucus, we hear with a heavy heart, but an unshakable resolve to defend the Constitution of Ghana, protect judicial independence, and uphold the rule of law. We gather to vet a disputed nominee for office of Chief Justice of Ghana. This should be a moment of national pride and institutional renewal.
I have an issue. The ranking member has no right, no lawful authority to raise anything about what happened in court, the processes leading to a removal of anybody and the nomination of anybody. You have no right, pursuant to our rules, to raise those issues. So be guided, because if you raise them, I'm going to object. I am objecting to the use of the term disputed nominee, because there's no dispute before us regarding the nomination.
There are dark clouds.
And it's time now for big issues. The video you just saw, of course, is a tape from proceedings yesterday in Parliament. Yesterday marked a very pivotal and heated moment in our judicial and political landscape as a country. The vetting of the Chief Justice nominee, Acting Chief Justice, Justice Paul Baffoe-Bonnie. This happened yesterday. It was marked with some controversy, some have said not unexpected, as the minority side came to the room with a prepared speech, which was read by the Honourable Minority Leader, Honourable Afenyo Markin. And they basically rejected the nomination and boycotted the vetting process, describing the nominee as a disputed Chief Justice nominee. They cited many reasons, including some of the legal processes which the removed Chief Justice, former Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu, has begun in the courts. And they say that participating in that vetting process would undermine some constitutional process. And so they basically walked out. Now, this walkout has been met with mixed reactions from a cross-section of Ghanaians. If you go online, read comments on social media. In fact, from this morning segment on TV3 New Day, a lot of you called, and it appears a lot of you were registering your displeasure with the way the minority side conducted themselves yesterday. The entire process took place over a period of about 8 hours. The vetting process did take place. It was long, it was interesting. Some of the answers from the nominee have sparked conversations about our justice delivery system and the like. Now, we're going to have this conversation as well as that report which has been filed, which is yet to be set to be made public today on the helicopter crash, which unfortunately claimed 8 lives in the month of August, including 2 cabinet ministers. The report is set to be made public today. Now, some questions have been asked about whether or not it is necessary at all for this report to be made public and what it means for national security and other things. We'll get into that as well. But we have some visuals for you. For those of you who did not or were not able to watch yesterday's vetting process, we have some visuals for you just to put our discussion into proper context before we begin the conversations. Let's take a look.
The way things are going, we think that we don't want to. If you are not careful, and you saw the interjection that I made, if you are not careful, you might even speak against anybody like the majority leader and whatnot, and we don't want to proceed. I don't know when the majority took the decision that when a minority has a position, we don't have to air it. I don't know.
Take this every
and it's not right. Let's allow the process. Let's go through the process. All the questions that we need to ask, let us ask them. I mean, that is what civil societies demand, but it didn't work.
And that was a press conference yesterday by the minority side after the walkout, to register their protest about the vetting of the Chief Justice nominee. But in studio now, we have been joined by Ramsey. Ramsey Inusa is the Director, Political Research of the new United Party. Ramsey, how are you?
I am doing well. Good morning to you.
Good morning. It's great to have you. Thank you.
You're looking good as usual.
Thank you. As are you. As are you.
Thank you.
All right.
It's quite unfortunate that, we have the same team.
Accra House of Oak.
Of course. Never say that
until the bones are rotten. But bones never get rotten.
Indeed, we'll bounce back strongly.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I would like to commend the players for what they showed. Indeed.
They did their best.
I don't know. We didn't have a VAR at the pitch.
You see?
We could have looked at that goal, whether it was an offside or not.
It could never have been an offside.
But indeed, time will tell.
Yes. We'll have our day. We'll have our day. We'll have our day. So I'm sure you witnessed some of what happened or all of what happened during the vetting yesterday. How did all of that strike you?
Well, I wasn't surprised at all. I mean, all what is happening in the minority caucus today is the doing of the former president Akufo-Addo.
How is that?
Because these are his proteges, right? These are people that we call the Nanes People's Party, not the true MPP.
Nanes People Party?
Yes, not the true MPP.
Why is that?
Because I heard the minority leader make remarks on ensuring accountability and protecting the rule of law. And indeed, he said what? Judicial independence. Mm-hmm. Now, you ask yourself, didn't we see a political interference in the works of the judiciary under their tenure? And all indicators and indices have reported to such. If you look at the Mo Ibrahim Governance Index, judiciary autonomy declined by 50%. If you look at the Afrobarometer report and their respondents to a survey conducted by the Afrobarometer, over 86% of Ghanaians lost trust in the judiciary system under their regime. They packed pro-MPP people into the Supreme Court, into the High Courts, and even the Second Court. So indeed, they are having a taste of their own medicine. This is what they created, right? The previous 8 years, we know what they did. Today, they are tasting their own poison.
What exactly are they tasting? Are you saying that the courts have been packed with pro-NDC?
I'm not saying that,
judges?
now we can act as if politics has not infiltrated each and every fabric of the Ghanaian society and even our public administration. We can sit down here and act and lie and say all whimsical things about the situation, but it is what it is. That is why it is detrimental to our democracy at this very juncture, because the judiciary should what it is. And so we, as members of the United Party, are recommending and we are proposing that going forward in the new constitution that we want to run, Ghana ought to introduce a bicameral parliamentary system. Currently, we run a unicameral parliamentary system. And with this bicameral parliamentary system, we want to see non-state actors and non-political actors uphold these offices within the bicameral parliamentary system.
How does that work?
So I'll give you an example. Within this second chamber, right, we want the trade unions to man it. We want the media, the representatives of the media to man it. We want the representatives of PWDs to man it. We want our faith-based organizations, reps, to man it. The pastors, the people that believe in our traditional belief, African traditional religion, and then our Muslim faith as well, would also have their representatives in there. Then we have our traditional authorities, Nananum, would also have representation in there. And they would have the powers to appoint heads of independent constitutional bodies so that it would not be the sole prerogative of the executive. Because we've seen over the years, under the ages of our 1992 constitution, that political actors from both political parties, MPP and NDC, have always tried to look at politics first, right, in the appointment of such persons. And that is why today, I can say without any iota of doubt that I can see some light at the end of the tunnel.
Today?
Because I sit down here as somebody who has tested the leadership of Justice Paul Baffoe-Bonnie.
You have tasted his leadership?
I have tested.
Tested?
Yes.
How did you do that?
Great. I have here a letter from the Judicial Service.
Okay.
Now, earlier this year, I petitioned this office over a serious, grave violation of my rights on a case in court. But you have to. Now, a judiciary staff in a court in Nsawam tried to, manipulate one way or the other the processes. And you know that it is against the code of conduct of the judiciary staff. They have a code of conduct that they need to follow religiously. I petitioned this office from the front door. And I want the people of Ghana to understand this. From the front door, I petitioned this office. I had not lobbied Baffoe-Bonnie, Justice Baffoe-Bonnie. I had not called him, nothing of that sort. I have no personal relationship with him. I received a response on the 15th of May, 2025, with an action taken. This is what leadership is about. This is what leadership is about. On this year, I petitioned the office of the IGP on a matter that also infringed on my rights as a citizen. And indeed, the leadership skill of Justice Baffoe-Bonnie and that of COP Ohunu is like comparing day and night. I dare say so this morning. That is why I'm even calling on the president to expedite the processes of looking for an alternative to man the office of the IGP, because we are not safe as Ghanaians.
Looking for an alternative to man the office of the IGP?
Of course. I have no trust in COP Ohunu. He is not competent to uphold that office.
What is the basis of this statement?
Now, if your rights as a citizen is being infringed on so many times, you petition his office to take action and you do not get any response, what does that mean? Justice delayed is what? Justice what? Denied. He has denied me of my rights. He has denied me of justice. I had petitioned same to the office of the acting Chief Justice at that time.
Let me ask
and
you
let's
a question.
compare. Yes.
You are petitioning the office of the Chief Justice.
Yes.
Because your personal rights have been infringed upon.
Exactly. I use the same modus operandi.
Why don't you go to court? I mean, why don't you go to Ghana Police Service? Why are you petitioning the IGP? Because surely he cannot be able to attend to all citizens who petition his office individually.
That is not
because
true.
their personal rights have been infringed
That is not
upon.
true. That is not true. The office is the office of the Inspector General of Police of Ghana.
Did you go to the Ghana Police Service in your neighborhood?
Did I go to? Yes, I went through all the processes. And of course, you have to petition the IGP on this matter. You have to petition him, and he will refer the matter to PIPS for investigation. That is how the process works.
I see.
But this IGP failed to do that because I think that the officers who acted in such contumacious manner are under his direct leadership. They work under his office, and so he is protecting them. But I am going to say that I am a masochist.
A what?
A masochist. That you cannot mess with me in a manner in which you think you get away with it. I am a fighter, and I believe in the rule of law. And that what ASP Samuel Nana Baffoe did to me and my God is something that I will never forget. And so far as I live, I will seek for justice. And indeed, you should remember, karma is real.
All right, Ramsey. I'm going to come back to you in a moment, but we've been joined on Zoom by one of our guests, legal practitioner, private legal practitioner, well-respected lawyer, responsible for some of the major landmark decisions in our courts. Lawyer Martin Pebu has just joined us. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
It's great to have you joining us all the way from the United States, I believe. What time is it there?
It's about 2 here.
2 a.m.
5 minutes past 2. Yeah.
Wow. Well, we're grateful that you woke up at 2 a.m. to join us to enrich this morning's conversation. Let's just get straight to it. I mean, yesterday, I'm sure you watched all of it or some of the vetting of the acting Chief Justice. The Chief Justice nominee, Justice Baffoe-Bonnie. The minority staged a walkout, and they, among other things, say that they left because some constitutional breaches have been occasioned by going ahead to vet this Chief Justice. What's your assessment of that statement, and do you agree with their legal basis for walking out?
Not really. I don't think as you're saying, do I agree with the basis? Yes, I don't agree at all because I think following what happened, they should have, continued, because if they had continued in the workings or in the work the appointment committee was scheduled to do, they would have enriched let me call it a debate, because their questions would have brought diversity. Their questions would have explored other angles. Their questions would have brought more out of the Chief Justice, you see. So to say, because they were not allowed to say Tokonu was removed unfairly and the rest, they would not participate. For now, I don't think that's enough. Because there was a statement Mahama Erga made, majority leader. He said, look, they are allowed, after this appointment committee sitting or after this vetting, to go out there and hold a press conference and say all the things that they wanted to say. Saying that Tokonu's removal is unfair, is illegal, is a travesty of justice. Those things they wanted to say. They're just saying that don't say them right here as part of the vetting process, because when you do, they infringe certain parts of the standing orders, but you are free to go and organize a press conference. And the minority had organized a number of press conferences where they had made these statements. So their point has been well made. So, well, I stand to be corrected, but I'm still struggling to see what extra points it would have made that they would use the vetting committee sitting or use the vetting itself as another opportunity to repeat all of those. If it were that, there is no other opportunity to say those things, or even before the vetting, they had never had a chance to say those things, then you would understand why they would want to say those things at the vetting. It's like, this is my first and last opportunity. If it were the first and last opportunity, then I would understand. But this is not the case. They've made their points several times. They've had a number of press conferences. Come on. They've even had demonstrations, right? Yes, there was even a demonstration. All those things, right? So I think they should have stayed. They should have stayed because, yeah.
Okay, they should have stayed. Do you think that, well, are there any implications of this walkout on the independence of the judiciary? Because, and one of the comments that was made is the fact that this vetting, or the vetting that took place, the way it took place without the presence of the minority side has implications on the independence of the judiciary. Do you agree?
Let me see. On the face of it, it's difficult to see how that... Okay, so, well, this is what you say. There may be something in terms of the optics, yes. So it's just the optics, but not substantially. So that's procedural. In terms of procedure, it means that the Chief Justice comes into office with the tag that, well, the minority didn't support his appointment. Yes, so that's it. So it's only in terms of optics. Like, if you read history is written tomorrow, they say, oh, the minority walked out because they thought the situation was so bad. That's it. But in terms of the substantive performance of his office, no, not that I can think of now. So what the Chief Justice has to do is that it means that this serves as an impetus for him to perform far better than he himself has even thought about, or committed himself to do. Because you see, it's like you have to do so well that the opponents will be ashamed. Yeah, I'm going to perform so well to shame you. You know, like if you want to see the real meaning of what I'm saying, if you brought it into tree, then you see what I'm trying to say. Mayor Amawaferi, you know, I would do it so well that you'll be ashamed. Mayor Amawaferi, or other forms of putting it. So, yes, in terms of the optics, yes, it doesn't look good at all, because usually when the office holder gets a bipartisan approval, it helps our democracy. It makes our democracy looks good, because then it doesn't make the candidate look so partisan, so to speak. So that I remember when it came to Tokonu like this, yeah, they had to go out and talk to NDC people. They even had to go and see JM, so that President Mahama at the time had to also tell them to go ahead, that's tell the parliamentarians to support Justice Tokonu's nomination, etc. So at the end of the day, yes, on record it will show that NDC agreed. Okay, they supported her nomination and appointment, right? So if Baffoe-Bonnie had it, it would look good for the optics and psychologically. But as I've said, procedure is not the end of life. No, it's not the end. Let's go to the substance. So that's where you see, they will say substance over form. Yeah, so the form doesn't look good, but thankfully, Baffoe-Bonnie has the opportunity to perform so well in the substance that it can overshadow the form. Yes, because, you know, okay, so when NDC supported Tokonu's appointment, how many, two and a half years down the line or so, yeah, now it's been withdrawn, she's been thrown out. So you see that the fact that you are even supported in coming to office is not, or it's no guarantee of anything. Yes, so let's focus on the substance. So Baffoe-Bonnie, I'm sure, will be focusing on the substance and knowing that he has to perform so well that the minority will regret for not supporting his nomination and appointment.
All right. Now, even though you don't agree with the minorities walkout, if you could offer any advice, do they have any legal recourse to take because they are of their registered displeasure, in fact, rejection of the Chief Justice nominee, and the fact that the vetting still took place? Do they have any legal recourse? What can they do at this point?
Okay, so now going to the substance of their rejection, from what I followed, they mentioned that there were pending suits. There were pending suits in the court, so they wish that the pending suits be resolved, that's be determined. The courts should finish. When the courts are done, then the vetting can go on. So since that is the pith of their grievance, it means that they would have to go support the litigants in those cases. There's a Vincent Asefua case, there's Chief Justice Tokonu herself, ex-Chief Justice, her own case. There's also the one by Kwabna Bonfe Kabila, right? Yeah, so then since they very much believe in the substance, the merits of those cases, then their recourse would be to go support so that the Chief Justice would, well, it's not actually the Chief Justice, they should go support for the cases to be heard quickly, because you have to take steps, asking for the Chief Justice to empanel and the rest. The cases are at different stages. Different things have to be done. That's why I'm not putting the burden on the Chief Justice. Let's just say that they should take all the procedural steps that have to be taken so that the cases can be heard. And then once they believe in those cases, we'll see how it goes with the final decision of the court.
All right. Before we let you go, Martin Pebu, you listened to the Chief Justice nominee and some of the suggestions or plans that he has for judicial reform, for better running of the judiciary. What are your general comments on some of the suggestions he made? Using AI to empanel judges and the swift justice delivery system that he hopes to be able to bring to bear.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was forward-looking, extremely forward-looking. It's good you've started with the AI. So, yes, I think it's good. The reason I say it's good is that, years ago, the Americans adopted this AI in their various systems. They use it for bail, even in making decisions on bail. You go to court, and then the decision as to whether the accused will get bail or not is made by AI.
That's interesting. Exactly how does that work? I mean, this is
yes. So let's say, now doesn't want a bad example. So let's use X. So X has a certain profile, maybe 25 years old. It's in the case of murder, but X works for this and this company, well paid. He's not had any previous offense, those things. So the data, he has a wife and children, all those things, they are fed into the system, is the algorithm, that's the app. And so the app will look at everything and then come up with a decision that, yes, this one, grant him bail. This one, don't grant him. Yeah. So it's been pre-programmed. Okay. So if bail decisions, the AI is being used, and they've done it for some years now. It didn't start just last year or 3 years ago. No. If you Google it, you will see. We will be able to read a lot more of it. So it's been around for some time. So if Justice Baffoe-Bonnie, not that if, since he said that he wants, he agrees that we should use it in empaneling judges. Yes, let's try it, because we have to keep trying. We cannot keep saying that, we are a developing country, so we don't have resources. No. Justice is very, very important. You see, justice helps to keep the society together. Where people live in a society and they don't feel that they're getting justice in their courts and the rest, And with time, they will resort to anarchy. You see, earlier on, my colleague panelists referred to the Mo Ibrahim Index and the way trust in the judiciary has plummeted, etc. Right? So we need to do everything. And Justice Baffoe-Bonnie says he will be leading the charges to restore confidence. So AI is welcome. 24-hour court system is welcome. And did you hear him make a joke that the NDC took a leaf from the books of the judiciary when it comes to the 24-hour economy?
Because of the 16-hour courts.
And all that. So, I mean, it's exciting. It's exciting because he has 1 year to go. I'm sure he will be doing everything to make an impact. Yes, and we should support him.
Okay.
And as part of that, if I may, I still have about 10 minutes, unless, 20 or 30. So if you want to go.
So if you can stay with us, then we'll come back to you. I thought you had to go. That's why we stayed.
Yes, but we've made changes.
All right, so we'll come back to you. But we've been joined in the studio by Dr. Josiah Kobab, former lecturer with Gimba, private legal practitioner, one of our very esteemed panelists on our Tuesday edition of Big Issues. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Great to have you as always. Thank you for joining us. Also joining us in studio is another lawyer, legal brain, private legal practitioner, member of the NDC legal team, Mr. Victor Kojoga Adawudu. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Welcome. Great to have you.
It's a pleasure being on the platform.
Awesome. I'll take your initial reactions to what happened yesterday during the vetting, Dr. Koba.
Yeah. Yesterday I watched with disgust.
Oh, okay.
I was very, very annoyed at the end of the day.
At the end of the 8-hour day or before the vetting itself began?
When I was going to bed, I was
all right.
kind of processing what happened during the day. And I was very upset. As a senior citizen, I said, what's going on in this country? My understanding of this as a lawyer is that the minority wants the former Chief Justice to exhaust all her legal options before we talk about a new Chief Justice. And I guess the basis is that because there are these cases in court, the cases should operate to stay whatever we are doing until the cases are determined.
Yes.
But, listen, I think it is settled law. I think my learned friend here would, it's settled law in our jurisdiction that a case in court, an application for injunction or the filing of a writ in our jurisdiction does not operate to stop a constitutional body from performing its functions. That is settled law. And so, when I see lawyers who happen to be MPs ignoring what is settled law, I think there's a motive that we need to ascertain. I wasn't happy at all yesterday. I wasn't happy at all yesterday.
Okay.
Now, furthermore, these are the same people that some time ago vandalized state property, broke microphones and overturned tables. The same group of people. Why? Is being a member of parliament licensed to disrespect us, the people of Ghana, the citizens who voted for you to go there? So I was very upset. I'm still very upset. I think something is wrong you know, I feel sorry for Speaker Babin. It's a big task. I just can't imagine that this happened yesterday. What is it that the minority leader wanted to say that he hasn't said already? Or that he would not have the opportunity to say going forward? Why do you have to mar and disturb a very serious state function, vetting an incoming Chief Justice? You just messed it up. Why? The Parliament is not a theater for movie actors who want to have their day on stage. It is not. This is serious state business. And I think that it's about time we, the citizens, held people like Honorable Afenyo-Markin, we held him to account. This should stop.
Is a challenge with the boycotting and the walkout, or with the points they advanced about the vetting of the Chief Justice nominee? Because they put forward some challenges. They say some constitutional, there have been constitutional breaches, that the appointment or the vetting of this Chief Justice really puts the independence of the judiciary into disrepute.
Yes, those are all legitimate issues to raise. But as I said, having these matters in court, in our jurisdiction, does not stop government business, state business from going on. And they know that. The minority leader is a lawyer. He knows that. And I think, for me, it's just one too many times. You know, this theater, this drama must stop.
Macbeth.
Parliament is serious business. And some of us are getting tired. I am really upset.
All right, let me come to Victor. Victor, you also, I'm sure you also watched the entire process. What are your initial comments on it?
Well, my initial comments are that at least it brought out the deep insight of the Chief Justice nominee, his deep knowledge of the judiciary, his experience on the bench, and committees he has chaired. So it tells you that he has knowledge and what has to be done within the judiciary, the reforms. And you could see that he's somebody that is not about shouting. He speaks slowly, but he's deep. What he says, what he knows about the judiciary, his experience on the bench. And I think that the forward-looking reforms that he wants to make, that he can also leave a legacy leading the judiciary. For me, it is one takeaway that I had to take. Okay. And also the other thing which maybe people may not think it is so essential, but for me, it is something that we take a moral lesson out of it when he said that he had to quit his job for the sake of his wife, for the love. Not only because it is love, it is because he feels that he can sacrifice for somebody. He stood for somebody. It is a lesson that has gone through all of us, especially the young ones, that it is not always about you, but it is to sacrifice for other people, for them to be able to achieve their dreams. And that sacrifice, I'm sure, has paid off. Today, she is the Director General of Prisons. From where she started, and somebody had to be there for you, you climb on the person's shoulder to get to where you are. For me, it's a lesson that all of us, that it is not always about me or what is in need for me. That was one of the lessons. The other thing I also take away is that it is not, you can always make your point. You can make your points without invectives. You can make your points without raising your voice. You'll be heard. And the interruptions that we saw yesterday was like the majority leader was of the deep conviction, or the majority side, that maybe some of the things that are being spewed by the minority, especially the leader, his choice of words, they were going to make sure that he operates within the confines and the principles of parliamentary rules. That is what we saw. So for me, it tells me that it's not always that, your choice of language in making a point should always be key, because people were looking.
You don't think he used good language?
No, I think some of the languages that he was using, because the people were not there to be heard. They were not before Parliament when he made some of those allegations or some of the things he was saying. And they were saying that, no, go within the confines and the principles of parliamentary, the standing orders and the rules. So those are the takeaways that I think as a society we should look at. And we should imbibe in ourselves and say that no more. The last one, maybe, is that the way Parliament, we saw what happened in the 8th Parliament, happening in the 9th Parliament, I think it's becoming a blot for Parliament, that any time when it starts like this, then it ends up in fisticuffs. And whilst it ends up in fisticuffs, nobody is being punished or surcharged for that. And for me, if this continues, it lays down the grounds for some military intervention.
Military intervention?
I'm telling you, no. You see, what it is going on.
If what continues?
They were in Parliament. Let me recount in the 8th Parliament. You saw military entering the chambers. Yeah. You saw the military, and you've seen during the vetting also, you saw the fisticuffs, right? You saw the challenges between, and you see now, the military intervention is not like it used to be when people are killed. Now they are endearing themselves. Example is just nearby Burkina Faso. Everybody says Traore, Ibrahim Traore. They are happy with what he's doing. They are happy with what Niger they are doing, right? Because people feel that they are losing interest in the political elites. Democracy. They are losing interest in democracy. And if they see some of these things going on, they say, these people really, do they think about us? Are they there to pursue the agenda for the benefit of us as society? And once they compare it with people who have come, Traore and the rest, and the society is hailing them, do you think people would not also want to experiment that? So for me, Parliament is such an august body that rules work there. If the top is behaving that way, how do you advise the younger ones that don't go for mob justice, don't do violence, will not solve the problem that we have to judge of? For me, the walkout and the rest is a parliamentary tool. It is their right. They have to exercise it anytime they determine they want to exercise it. It's their right. I don't have any qualms with that. But it's not what you preach that the people will emulate. People will emulate what you do. Definitely. So if your sons, sometimes we sit down, and even my son was watching yesterday, say, Daddy, these people, why are they arguing like this, right? And these are things that society is learning. And I think that Parliament itself should sit down and see that some of the things they are doing is becoming a blot on their conscience. Right. And they would always judge all.
But you generally have no problem with their exercising their rights to walk out or boycott?
No, at all. It's a parliamentary tool.
All right, now let me come back to you, Ramsey. Now, let's talk about this standing controversy and what happened yesterday. Do you think that it might have any long-term effect on the perception of the neutrality of the judiciary if Baffoe-Bonnie is confirmed?
Well, for Baffoe-Bonnie, I think there is light at the end of the tunnel. I have been able to test his leadership skills. That's why I compared his leadership skills to that of the current IGP. And I said, it's just like day and night. And so I have absolute confidence in Baffoe-Bonnie, Justice Baffoe-Bonnie. And I want each and everybody, young, old, woman, girl, whatever, whoever you are in this society, no matter your status, that we should all rally behind Baffoe-Bonnie, because I have absolute trust in him that he is going to deliver. He is going to indeed ensure that the judiciary gets back on its foot and enlighten the darkness that has been created by the previous administration in the judiciary. Because I cited a lot of research reports on our judiciary. If you look at the Mo Ibrahim Governance Index, judiciary autonomy declined by 50% under the SY administration. Our people lost trust in democracy. It declined significantly under the SY administration because the judiciary was influenced and was infiltrated by political actors. But we are going to see a different thing altogether, because I have trust in Baffoe-Bonnie, and I'm indeed going to be his lead campaigner to ensure that he succeeds. Now, Justice Baffoe-Bonnie indeed will go. It's sad that he has only 1 year. Yeah. I feel so sad that he has only 1 year.
And that's one of the issues that, that people who are not entirely in favor have raised, that what real difference would he be able to make in the time that he has left before he retires?
What Tokono did in her short stay as Chief Justice can be overturned by a competent, virtuous, righteous Chief Justice within a day. And this is what leadership is about. Let us not take his merits for granted. Okay. Indeed, the minority is going about singing all kinds of rhetorics. This honorable justice, was appointed by the former president, John Ajekun Kufuor, who was then the president of the Republic of Ghana from the year 2001 to 2009, under the ticket of the MPP. Indeed, what Afenyo Makin has done has really hurt Kufuor this morning. I can tell you, because President Kufuor believed in Baffoe-Bonnie. That is why he appointed him to the apex court of our land. So what is Afenyo Makin telling? And that's why I keep on referring you to Nane's People's Party, that look at them. Look at the way they act. My learned colleague talked about issues during the vetting in Parliament, where there was a fist fight and all that, and tables were being overturned. This is not what we are used to when we talk about the MPP. I mean, look at the days of J.H. Mensah. Can you compare that to Afenyo Makin today?
Afenyo Makin, I don't think he has not questioned the competence of Justice Baffoe-Bonnie. His issues have nothing to do with his competence and who appointed him and why he was appointed. His issues have got to do with the fact that, among other things, there are cases pending before the court.
A motion was taken to Parliament. The Speaker ruled over it. Indeed, it was even the Deputy Speaker and then the Speaker. You cannot bring back a matter that has been adjudicated on back to a committee meeting.
Okay.
That is acting in ultra vires to the standing orders of Parliament. You can't do that. And is he saying that President Mohammed's constitutional right should be stampeded because a case is in court? No laws in this country is greater than the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. This is the apical law of our land. And so if the president is exercising his rights in appointing a Chief Justice, he has the right to do so. And he talked about the procedure in removing Justice Tokono. Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution is clear. There was no procedural breach. It was done, taken into consideration Odi ultra partum, the principle of natural justice, that a fair hearing should be granted to whichever person who has been accused. And that was what happened. A committee was set. They determined a prima facie case against her. The president, in consultation with the Council of State, acted according to the Constitution.
Yes, and
what
the
was wrong?
In the middle of it, Justice Tokonu had concerns about the way the hearing took place. She had questions about fairness, about how she was handled.
There was nothing. It is pure political gimmick by Justice Tokonu. If indeed she had concern about whatever that was going on, she indeed is a legal brain. She should have conducted herself in a manner in which all these things will not happen to her. She knows the laws of this country. Indeed, she has told us that the law is the law. So tell me now, this morning, where in our laws in this country that her rights has been breached, that the president acted in ultra. Look, it is all. Can she prove it? Why is it that the courts have all thrown their cases out? The courts have thrown their cases out, and I'm sure that the ECOWAS court is going to do just to this matter and throw the case out.
All right.
Look, we are serious as a country. We want to build a formidable judiciary.
Doc,
we need competent people to man the judiciary.
Doc, I'm going to come back to you.
Not people that would man it for selfish gains.
Let's just go to Martin Pebu, who might have to leave us soon.
Answer to
short one.
1 year.
Short one.
The 1 year, you're saying that he has 1 year. You see, there's precedent. There was a justice who was appointed by President Kufuor. And at the time, Nana Akufo-Addo, his former president, was the Attorney General. That was Professor Kluje. Professor Kluje had less than 1 year at the Supreme Court, but his impact cuts through and is still alive today. Although he's no more, that rule, where he made the principle that customary law knows no writing. The law had been that if you have land, and every time the proof should be an indenture that you have a document. And he came and said that has been there. And in the cases of Amuzu versus Oklika and Brown and Koshiga, he made that landmark decision. It's the Supreme Court, but he was the lead. And said that, no, the fact that I don't have documents covering my land does not mean that if it was given to me customarily, and Dr. Ramsey knows, the family knows that this is my land. Doc also knows this is my land, and maybe now goes to bring a document and say it is the land. No, if there is a proof from the two, customarily that I have been on this land and it is for me, that has been the principle till date, right? So the case of being 1 year and others, he can make that impact. And this is the precedent I want people to know. That it doesn't matter about if the person is competent, the person has the idea, the impact he can make. Kluge is gone. But Modibo, Okran, and all them, they are gone. But they still rule us from their grave.
All right. Thank you for that addition. Let's go back to Martin Pebu, who is still with us on Zoom. Martin Pebu, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
I'd like a comment on the perception of judicial neutrality if Justice Baffoe-Bonnie is appointed, given all that has happened and the abstinence of the minority in participating in the vetting process.
Well, in terms of neutrality, Baffoe-Bonnie's appointment, it's good. It's good because he cuts the neutral, or he ticks the neutral box. Because, Baffoe-Bonnie was originally appointed, Ghana, one of the yardsticks we use is who appointed the judge. So he was appointed to the High Court in the year 2000 by the Rawlings administration. He said he was sworn in by Professor Mills. Then 2006 was appointed to the Court of Appeal by President Kufuor. Then 2008, the same President Kufuor took him to the Supreme Court. So in terms of ideology, we're doing the paper analysis, so things we can verify as to the real things in his head, and those says you would leave for another day. But in terms of the optics and what the appointment signal, because to go to the Supreme Court is no joke. If a president doesn't trust that you believe in his ideology, etc., you won't make it to the Supreme Court. Remember that now with over 34 million citizens, the Supreme Court doesn't have more than 17 judges. So you see that to go in and a lawyer population of over 7,000, okay? So to go in 17 judges out of over 7,000 lawyers is extremely competitive. So the point I'm making is that his rise to the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court, where under President Kufuor, who was president in on the ticket of the NPP. So it means that he subscribes. That's what it's supposed to mean. I mean, presidents don't toy with Supreme Court appointments. You just go and take this person. Oh, yes, just bring him. No, they do thorough checks, thorough checks. Does this guy reason like we do? Does he subscribe to property owning, democracy, fundamental human rights, all those things? Can we trust him? Or if you like, in simple language, do we like him enough? Of course. So for him to have gone up there on the MPP's ticket, so to speak, and now 18 years on, 17 years. It's the NDC administration that's making him Chief Justice. It tells you that they also trust in him. It's a huge boost for our democracy that a Supreme Court judge who made it to the Supreme Court on the ticket of the MPP, the NDC too have seen something good in him, and they say, can be Chief Justice over us. And so you would see that going back, you see that Baffoe-Bonnie has exercised that independence of thought. You know, at his vetting, the point was raised, and Dafia Mepo was the first to raise it, that is Baffoe-Bonnie. To paraphrase, you've been given this position because in the election 2012 petition, you voted for President Mahama. That's why you got this position. You know, Dafia Mepo was teasing him. And he looked at it and said, no, I don't think so. Rather, what it means is that it shows my quality. I mean, just paraphrasing the answers. It shows that he's good enough for the job. Because, you know, prior to the decision coming out, people just thought that, oh, Baffoe-Bonnie is a Kufuor appointee. He's a Kufuor appointee. So automatically, his decision, or let's call it his vote, will go in favor of Kufuor. I remember people saying so, that, oh, Baffoe-Bonnie, it's Kufuor who appointed him, and a Kufuor appointee, automatically, the Kufuor will win this case. I remember those days, I told some lawyers that, no, not specifically on Baffoe-Bonnie, but I told them that, no, this case, just saying these are Kufuor appointees, and so Kufuor appointees who vote for Kufuor is too simplistic. This one is too easy for the judges to just say we are Kufuor appointees, so Kufuor should win. The matter was just too easy. It was too easy for me. And truly, Baffoe-Bonnie voted against Kufuor on the crucial thing about the presiding officers not having signed the pink sheets. You know, each polling station, there are some of the presiding officers who didn't sign. And so Kufuor's argument was that all those polling stations, their elections be annulled so that they will go and rerun. But if you look at elections jurisprudence when it comes to court cases, no, once it's clear, the sovereign, the people of Ghana have expressed their will in voting, and there's no problem with how the person voted, but rather it's a signature that's not being used to authenticate it. Once all the other evidence shows that, oh, the votes are genuine, you don't use administrative failings, administrative breaches to annul somebody's vote. So I wasn't surprised when Baffoe-Bonnie said, look, I'm not going to annul these votes. I'm not going to annul. Look, the people went to vote, and from everything I see, these are genuine votes. The votes will stand. So the key thing I'm saying is that, so you would see that having reached the Supreme Court on the ticket of the NPP and having exercised that independence of thought, that independence of mind, that integrity, It's something that would walk miles ahead of him. And that's how come from 2013. You see, in 2025, when we needed a Chief Justice, you see that integrity he exercised in 2013, so more than 10 years ago, so roughly about 12 years ago. You see, it has paid off. So for me, I mean, for a lot of us, we think that independence he exercised in that decision was quite pivotal, was quite instrumental in their decision to appoint him, because he's shown that, look, I'm not just a party zealot. I'm not here to vote for MPP because MPP brought me here. I look at the law and what I understand it, what my conscience, what integrity tells me is what I'll do. Yeah.
Okay, interesting analysis there. I think you've answered most of the questions on my mind on this matter. But you said you had 20 minutes to go, and that was about 17 minutes ago. So I'm just going to ask you one last question and then let you go if you must. You commented earlier about some of the reforms that Justice Baffoe-Bonnie intends to implement should he be confirmed. And we mentioned the 24-hour courts. Exactly how feasible is it to run our courts or some courts 24 hours? How do you see it playing out in your mind? Will the courts be open
That's
at
interesting.
night?
I like that. You want to see the picture. So this is how it works. I'll give you the practical example. As far as I'm aware, in Singapore, the courts sit. It's not every category of cases, but why not? The courts sit. They start sitting at 6 p.m. and some close 9 p.m., 10 p.m. You say, yes, I was in Singapore. When was that? About 7 years ago. Yeah, so we went to the courts where we were shown that, yes, this particular court, there is a night session. So they start in the evening at 6 p.m. and then go on, right? So that is where the idea that, or even if not the idea, so there's a place where I have seen it and then we say, okay, that's how it runs, right? So you find the court sitting late into the night. Let me give you another example. You see in the UK, over a decade ago when the riots happened, they did 24 hours. Yes. We're sitting morning, day, night. So
in the middle of the night, the judges will be in court sitting.
Yeah, people.
Lawyers would come to court. Is that feasible?
So no. So your question. So now let's answer this. When they say 24, it's not for every case. It's for emergency. Okay. Maybe we should mention this. It's emergency, and there are a lot of emergency cases we have that immediately you don't have to be waiting till 24 hours. No. And let's also make the point. So when we say emergency, it's not so emergency means it's restricted category. But the bigger picture where we should be looking at is that 6 p.m., right, the court is sitting. The current one, the one Chief Justice Tokono brought, they don't sit 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m. No, they are dental court and the rest. No, I'm not aware that they sit up to 10 p.m. But with the 24-hour court, it will be standard to work up to 10 p.m., right? Yes, maybe 11. So let's get that distinction. And the rest of the time is used for other administrative things. So let me show you. Somebody can be granted bail at 6, or let's say the court is done at, let's say, 7 p.m. The court has finished sitting, but it doesn't mean everything has come to an end. If it's important, the person who has been granted bail, maybe that night he needs to travel. His mother's funeral is Saturday morning. Yes, you have to do the order, everything, 9, 10, 11 p.m. so that they sign it. And then the police, there will be special procedure so that he'll be let go. He has to attend his mother's funeral the next morning. If the judge is granted him bail, why should the secretary, the typist, go to bed and come back the next day to come and start typing when the man needs to start traveling the night to go to his mother's funeral? So they will do all that. So it's key, trust me. We will do it and it will be marvelous.
All right.
Yeah, you change the mindset.
All right. Thank you so much, Martin Pebu. We appreciate your time this morning, joining us all the way from the U.S. at 2 a.m. We're grateful for your time. Back in the studio, Dr. Kawa, before I went to Martin Pebu, Dr. Ramsey was saying something. You wanted to interject, but I didn't let you.
I've heard about this issue of judicial independence, that what is happening now that the independence of the judiciary is under threat. My question is, when did we realize this? Did we have independence under Chief Justice Tokuno? What is going on? Look, when she got into trouble, where did she go for counsel? My own question, just the optics. If you're a Chief Justice and you have a case in court, there are a lot of lawyers, good, neutral lawyers in this country. Where did she go for counsel? And then now we have to listen to sermons about judicial independence. Where did this come from?
You had problems with her representation?
No, she's entitled to, and I'm just saying that just as an observer.
Optics.
Yeah, as a lawyer, I know there are a lot of good lawyers in town. And if I was a former Chief Justice embroiled in this kind of dispute, and I have to go and get a lawyer, I don't know where she gets her advice from. But those people who are talking, making so much noise about all this noise about judicial independence, my question is, did we have it under Tokuno?
Okay.
You know now,
Victor,
let me just make this open confession. When Justice Tokuno was appointed to the High Court, that was the time we also started practice. Martin's my mate, right? She was one of my mentors.
at the commercial court?
Oh yes, at the commercial court, true to where she's gotten to. So sometimes it's a bit difficult coming over to profess some judgment over her. That's why I have stayed clear not to really. But you see, it is the process of the law. She has a choice. And that is the choice she preferred to exercise, right? But the optics of it, every lawyer has sworn to defend anybody, right? Provided your services are needed. But sometimes it becomes difficult, maybe when people start pigeonholing you where you belong and others. But I think that it is something we need to look at. Yes, for people's perception. Perception is something that is very, it's real. Because people have some perception, like when you take somebody to General Legal Counsel, the disciplinary committee, the complainant even going has a perception that the people sitting there are all lawyers. And I'm taking another lawyer there. So am I going to get the justice or not? But you see, you'll be surprised you go there when the judges and the lawyers are reprimanding their own colleague. You'll be surprised. You know, so some of these things are technical, very difficult. But I think that what should stand out is that as a lawyer, you have taken an oath to render services to anybody who needs your service. And the flip side of it is that as a lawyer, I can also decide who I want to represent and not to represent, right? Nobody's going to force me and say, oh, you have to represent this person. Even sometimes the judges will make a request that, oh, represent this person. If you think you give him and say for personal reasons, I won't do A, B, C, D, right? So if we continue to sometimes trying to pigeonhole lawyers who the case it takes not to get, we will become endangered species. How many are we? That means that we'll have NDC lawyers for this group, NPP lawyers. I think that it's a phenomenon that if we try to push that, it will come to heads. Because you are there. And I always say that every case that goes to court, if you are the Attorney General, the facts you have, the evidence you have, is what will give you conviction or not, right? There's no way a lawyer can change when the evidence is compelling. You can't change the facts. You can't change the evidence. All you can do is maybe look at the way you can use some technical or other techniques within the law, which is permissible, to be able to find an escape route or minimize the damages that your clients may go through. For me, that's the bottom line of the case. So we should be. It's just unfortunate that in Justice Tokono's case, I believe that from my personal view, I believe that there were some advices, maybe, but she is the best person. Lawyers will advise, but it is the client who takes the decision and says, this is what I want. So that it doesn't become like, oh, now lawyer no say anything say. Lawyer no, or it was the lawyer who said, let me do this one.
She was free to make her decisions.
Definitely, because yes, because your decision is the final decision.
And being the Chief Justice and from where she sat and all the experience she has, I mean, Dr. Kobo has asked some questions, but from where she sat as Chief Justice, I'm sure with all the experience and knowledge she has, she must have had some very good reasons for going with the counsel that she decided to go with. But on the question of optics, I think both Dr. Koba and Victor, you've mentioned the way the thing looks and the power of perception.
The power of perception.
What do you say to people who are asking questions about the justices who were present at the vetting to support Justice Baffoe-Bonnie and those who were absent? So some of the justices who were not absent, there have been some conversations about, well, this justice was appointed by Akufo-Addo, they were not present. This justice was appointed by XYZ, they were not present. Do those things matter at all?
No, you see, what happens, people don't understand is that whilst the system is moving, you have to go with the system. The Supreme Court, before they even come with a judgment, they go for conference. What is your opinion? What is your view? What is your view? And they synthesize, put it together and say, let one person write it. You see, my good friend and senior brother, Justice Gaiwu, he was appointed by the previous regime. He was there, right? It is different from the perception we have that when they go there, there is some seemingly misunderstanding or tension between them. No. The moment they get in as Supreme Court, I'm telling you, right, they are one. And the fact that the former Chief Justice has been our colleague, she has an issue, doesn't mean that the system should not work. No. That's not how it works. So far as it is about the administrative head, who is also the Chief Justice, who is going to take the tenure of office, the system all goes along with the people. If some people were not there, I was supposed to have been there yesterday because they invited me to come. But because of one or two assignments, I couldn't go. And I know there are some assignments for other of the Supreme Court judges. I think the results, they are working on it to come very soon. So maybe because of some assignments, they may not have been able to go. And you see, you may not see some of them because yesterday, it's a small space. I'm sure, I know people who went, but you can go and take a seat when there is a Supreme Court judge who has come and has no seat. So, and there are some few people, prominent people who were there. So, if people say that this man was not there because he's against the nominee, I don't think that is how it works. It's a power of perception. And I'm telling you that when you go there, they may even be your friend. Look, you have a case who you think that this judge will be against me, that one will be for you. The one who is even your friend and you think will come, will rule against you. And after that, will come and tell you that, you see, you didn't do A, B, C, D. It's a learning curve. And that's how we've been trained to work together.
Okay.
And yesterday, I'm sure he also tried to tell you the kind of relationship he has with his colleagues. Some appeared before him when they were lawyers, when he was sitting at circuit court, sitting as high court judge. Almost everybody appeared before him. So it is not just of recent things that had happened that would draw a wedge between them. No, they will base on their past relationship, their friendship, and even we go to court. Some of them, they mentor us. They will tell you, or even some of the judges will call you and say, I'm handling this matter. Do you have any case which is relevant, or you think, yes, we do it, all of us.
I see.
Or I can call some judge who is my friend and say, I'm handling this matter, when he's not handling it. I say, can you give me some direction or eliminate me on this matter, how I proceed? And that's how we all learn.
Okay.
Or call a senior and say, senior, this is my problem. Senior, how do I go about it?
So you all work hand in hand?
We work hand in hand.
Right.
Yes.
But, I think that the acting Chief Justice, his performance yesterday was just brilliant.
Oh, yes. It was deep.
It makes you proud that you're a lawyer. I mean, I said, this is it's brilliant. But you see, again, now, just look at the way Her Ladyship, Araba Tokono, spoke about her colleagues who were on the committee. Look at that. I mean, look at how she spoke about Justice Pullman. If you want to come to equity, come with clean hands. So let us just accept what has happened. The process 146 Constitution, Article 146 worked. Let's move on.
All right. I take those as your final words, Dr. Josiah and Victor. Let me come to Ramsey.
Let's move on. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, so I think, as Doc said, we have to move on. So we're looking into the future now. Now, we want to see a Ghana where tomorrow the executive would not have the mandate, the legal mandate, to appoint heads of independent constitutional bodies, like the Office of the CJ. We want to see a scrap of the Council of State under Article 89.
A scrap?
Yes. It's not living up to its mandate. I think that in place of the Council of State, we should adopt a bicameral parliamentary system and bring in a second chamber. This second chamber would not be made up of political actors and state actors. And this second chamber would have the legal mandate to appoint heads of independent constitutional bodies, so that tomorrow nobody is going to say, well, the executive is NDC, is UP or MPP, and therefore they have appointed such persons into this position. Therefore, this person is NDC or MPP.
And this second chamber cannot be politicized. You've said that we are political people as a country. It's difficult to say that this person is not a political person. How exactly are you going to come to this conclusion?
I mean, if you look at the interests, politics comes with interests. It's always a political, in this country, right? We allow politics to direct policies rather than vice versa. Do you understand what I'm saying? That politics directs or drives policies rather than policies shaping politics. I think that if we're able to bring about the second chamber, if you look at the actors I've mentioned, do you think that their interests will supersede that of the political interests?
Excuse me.
If you balance that of the trade union, you have the trade union there, you have PWDs there, you have faith-based organizations, you have gender-based organizations.
Political leanings,
they have
biases.
But indeed, their interests, if you put all these things together, their interests collectively supersedes that of the political interests.
You don't think that political interest directs interests of some of these organizations also? Because in the same organization where you believe that it should all have the same interests, there are divisions.
I agree. But again, I am saying that if you look at the amalgamation of people that we have posited this morning, that I have given out this morning, right? If we're able to put all these people together and have this mixture, it will be able to neutralize our political interests. Maybe you might not see, because Ghana is highly polarized due to the kind of partisan politics that we practice today. But I am telling you that in the future, if we give power to certain people, certain organizations like the labor unions have to be political because they want their needs to be met. Unfortunately, some traditional authorities, some chiefs have told me, they've told me behind closed doors, look, if I don't align to A, B, C, D, or declare my support for A, B, C, D, which is against the constitution, I might not get something to even feed my people or to support development within my community, because I'm a chief and I have a lot of people that depend on me. That is the system of politics in Ghana today. And so if we are able to take out that power from the executive and give it to these independent bodies, I am telling you that it will be able to resolve a lot of these issues that we are dealing with. Well, put it to research and see what I'm talking about.
All right, I'd like us to end this conversation now. The conversation on
constitutional review is going on. I'm sure I'll put a paper, position paper.
We have given that today.
Okay,
Yes.
but quickly, I'd like us to comment on this. Today, we're expected to see the report on the helicopter crash, which unfortunately claimed the lives of 8 gallant Ghanaians who were on their way to a mission to help fight illegal mining, including 2 cabinet ministers. Now, we're expecting the reports today at about 11:30, if I'm right. Now, some people have expressed concerns about the content of the report. We haven't seen it yet, but that it has happened. It should be private. It should remain with national security and let them do what they need to do to correct whatever might have happened, depending on the content of the report. Others think that, well, it's something that concerns all Ghanaians, and you know, it should be made public. It will be made public, though. What's your take on it?
Yes, there are some information that are classified, and there are, in every democratic society, our constitution makes it clear that where we need to have sufficient information as a democratic society, it ought to be done. And I'm happy, although it's an unfortunate situation that nobody will want that to happen again, a disaster that we pray never happens again in this country. Giving us some information would also bring peace to us. They will bring some disclosure in the sense that we will have known what actually caused it, if it was maintenance of the helicopter, things that we need to put in place so that we avert
any future occurrence.
I'm sure the ones that are very classified or information that are so sensitive, I'm sure the decision was taken at the National Security meeting. They will keep those ones and they will work with those ones. But what the public needs to consume, I'm sure that is the information that is going to be given to us.
All right.
And I think that they will bring some disclosure to the populace and know that these gallant men did not die in vain, for nothing. And at least it will shepherd us into the future, what we'll do going forward.
Dr. Josiah?
Well, I associate myself with what my colleague has said. Again, I think that the technical people will let us have what we need to have. We will be told what we need to know, and some things will remain classified. I think that we have a right to be told something. The reason is that these officials will continue to travel with the helicopter. And some of us are relatives who are government officials. And so at least to put our minds at rest, we need to know that everything that can go wrong has been looked at. And going forward, we can have a peace of mind.
Okay.
I don't subscribe to a point of view that we should be told everything. I mean, there are things that we shouldn't know. And it's properly considered using best practices. So be it.
Okay. Dr. Ramsey?
Well, let me use this occasion to send my condolences once more to the family of our 8 gallant heroes. It's quite sad what happened. Indeed, these men were moving to solve the menace of Galamsey, which is an existential threat to our survival as a nation. The fight against Galamsey still continues. The only thing we can do to give these people a befitting memory is to defeat the menace of Galamsey. This fight is a collective fight, it's a Ghanaian fight. It is not a partisan one. And so I'm calling on the presidency to champion that collective political effort to bring each and every political party and political actor on the table so that we can collectively fight Galamsey.
Right.
To the helicopter crash report, I concur with all what my learned colleagues have posted this morning. I believe that, yes, there are some information that should not be made public. It should be on a need-to-know basis. And I think that we are yearning to see what the report is going to look like. And so on this note, I would just hope that the report is clean, there's no foul play, and I hope that the Ghana Air Force will be re-equipped and will be revamped with modern helicopters and aircrafts,
right,
so that our soldiers and our VIP and government officials will be safe when they travel.
All right.
And indeed, not the 1976 helicopters that were bought by the previous administration.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Ramsey. I'll read a couple of your messages before we wrap up this segment. Musa Abatwa Sawasi says, kudos to President Mahama for nominating Justice Baffoe-Bonnie as Chief Justice, despite the unfortunate conduct of the micro-minority, clearly bent on obstructing the vetting process. Honorable Afonyo Makin will go down in history as the, Justice Baffoe-Bonnie's impeccable records gives hope that he will restore integrity and fairness to Ghana's justice system. My regards to the Chief of Staff, Julius Deborah, and Stephen Peng in Wales sends a message. Stephen Peng, it's been a while since we heard from you. Great to hear from you today. Discerning Ghanaians will not bow to the caps and whims of Afonyo Makin and the NPP today or tomorrow. And the posturing of Afonyo Makin and his minority is becoming nauseating, to say the least. Ghanaians are waiting for the United Party as a viable opposition in the next parliament. Ghanaians want the CJ to be appointed quickly to get special courts and tribunals set to prosecute criminals. The current NPP is a dead elephant, and that's coming from Stephen Peng. Texting us from wide. A few more messages coming in. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to read them. Maybe I'll read one more. Now, the attitude of the noisy minority is simply nauseating. Just a few months ago, they were all over the place messing up the economy and speaking arrogantly to justify wrongs they had committed against the nation. Can't they see that Ghanaians are content and hopeful under the Mahama administration? And that is from Chris, texting us from Ashalibuche. Thank you so much, Chris, for sending your message in. And to all of you who sent messages that I could not read, you forgive me. All right. And thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming.
Quickly.
Yes.
Stephen Peng.
Yes. Yeah.
Today, why is going to be Agog? The president is going there to cut the big push. Chichuliga is going to cut the sword this afternoon.
Amazing.
So,
I was in Wa about 3 weeks or a month ago. And that road,
I think last week they did the Wenchi Sola Bole to Wa.
That's good to
hear. So they are going to do this. So, Stephen, why is going to be Agog? Be there to see things for yourself.
Well, that's good news for the people of Wa in the Upper West region. Yeah. Thank you so much, Victor Daudu, legal NDC team, and to Dr. Josiah Koba, former principal lecturer, GIMPA and legal practitioner, and Dr. Ramsey Inusa, who is a director of research, political research with the United Party. This has been Big Issues on TV3 New Day. If you haven't cashed out this morning, you want to do so, dial *439#, select option 2 for TV3, and win big. I've got 10,000 CDs to give to 10 of you, 1,000 CDs each. And so dial now, *439#, select option 2 for TV3, and win big. Now it's time to perk up your day. Perk up your day with milky, rich, smooth taste of milk shortcake from Perk. It's a pure delight. If you haven't tried Perk, you want to try it today. It's a pure delight. And we invite you to buy one and have it at any time of the day. Still to come, we've got sports for you. My people, Accra House of Oak, we are still not very happy with how things happened last Sunday, but we still never say die.
Never say
die. Yes. Never say die. Oh yes, we'll bounce back. As for the Porcupine Plantain team, we leave them to God. And still, they are number 9 on the table. We are number 7. In spite of this unfortunate stolen verdicts. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.